So I just finished my first major series of videos on the channel with every Naruto movie ranked and reviewed. You should definitely go watch that, you know what I'm saying, if you haven't. I'll have it linked down in the description, you know what I'm saying, And figure, why not go back to the classic weird anime series as a fun, small breather. But it's October, so of course we're not just gonna do weird anime, but weird anime horror edition. So I went digging and searching for a nice horror anime to do a video on, and I remembered an anime I was told might be one of the worst anime ever created, and that it also happens to be horror, quote unquote. Pupa. If you've seen any of my weird anime videos before, then you may have noticed that usually I only cover the first episode of a series because that'd be a lot of content to make a video on, and these just feel better and like more condensed type of things. But for this video, I'm gonna do the entire series, if you can even call it that, for two reasons. One, it's October, the third best month of the year, and well, two, each episode is like 4.5 minutes at max. So this video would be so short it wouldn't even be worth making if I only covered the very first episode. As a little bit of a background, Pupa is a horror anime from 2014 based and created off a manga of the same name, notable for its striking and very, very gory imagery. So use that as a bit of like a parental advisory warning type of thing. To be honest, you should be fine if you're like 16 and up, if I had to guess, because the version of the anime I'm going to be using is the censored version, which makes the anime so much worse. But there was just no reason to expose myself to all like the weirdness of this anime for no reason. And I don't know if I could even find the uncensored version that was also subbed. Most of the uncensored versions I came across were raw and they didn't have any subtitles. So there's just too much work for this series. Trust me, you'll be fine. It's not that deep. And if you really want to see the uncensored version, it's out there somewhere. But if you think that it'd be too spooky, don't worry, I got you, fam. Censored version all the way. You should be fine. The first episode starts with what I guess I will call an opening. It has literally zero animation, and it's just 4 or 5 color panels from the manga slowly panning up, and then they show a title card. But the tune, the music is kind of catchy, I guess, and they do this little thing right when the title card shows where the song's like Pupa, Pupa, and like that kind of got stuck in my head as I was watching this. So you know what I'm saying. Matter of fact, I think I can play that without getting copyrighted, right? If I played it, that means that I did it without getting this video claimed. If I didn't, that means that the video got claimed and it got edited out. So sorry if it's not there, but isn't that super catchy if it is there? Let me really start the episode, and just some of the most low budget background animation I have ever seen. It looks like a little kid's first attempt at a watercolor painting. What is this? Moving into the story. This is gonna be such a just interesting video when I finish it. We have our main characters who are siblings. Our sister is Yumi and our brother is Utsutsu. They meet up after school and talk about how they'll meet back up at home. Yumi then starts walking home from school alone when she's attacked by a tentacle puppy, or whatever you want to call this thing. Then out of nowhere, we start getting cut in flashbacks of her getting abused as a child, and that got really dark real quick. Oh man. So yeah, abuse, we're gonna covering that here and there in this series. Then her older brother sees her lying on the ground as if she's just been hurt and naturally runs over to help her. As he's holding her in his arms though, she explodes. Then we get to see what I imagine would be the creation of Mothman and Satan having a real long fun night with each other. So that happened, and that's the end of the first episode. And I didn't do this thing where like I jumped around to only the important bits. No, I pretty much covered like every detail in that episode because it's only 4 minutes. I'm not gonna announce every time an episode ends, but I just wanted to do it this one time to show why I'm gonna cover the entire series, not just the first episode. So now Yumi is looking at her brother in her new gross form, and she runs off and eats a few people. Yeah. The entire time this has been happening, though, there's been a woman who's kind of dressed like a witch. She has a nice little black hat, and she's just been spectating and casually commentating on the situation playing out. Utsutsu then tries reaching out to the human side of his sister, and right before thinking it's worked, he gets a nice giant chunk bitten out of him. So she's just snacking on him, and then we transition to a big city, and there... Alright, bro, what is this, fam? It's like a real life recording of a person gutting a fish on a TV. That's not animated. That is not anime. They literally just recorded someone gutting a fish, and then, okay, Jesus Christ. Okay, fine. We see Yumi is having a mental break being a newly born monster who just ate her close sibling and all, but plot twist, he isn't dead, I guess. Because despite looking like a stepped on ketchup packet a few moments ago, they have a nice reunion of sorts in the middle of the road, and we transition to Yumi eating her brother again in a bathroom. But this time she's just her normal self, not the monster. And So I've never had the pleasure of, being eaten alive, so I'm not quite sure what sounds I make if that were to happen to me, but these are the sounds Utsutsu makes while he's getting eaten. And as I said before, I'm not sure what sounds I make, but it kind of sounds like he's enjoying it a little bit, and I just imagine that most people wouldn't be like moaning while they were getting eaten alive, but could be wrong. Don't really know anyone who's been in that situation, so we'll just move on, I guess. So we come back to the park or wherever Yumi originally ate her brother, and he is dead, I guess, as a sort of double Uno reverse, and I guess that alludes to everything I said before being in her head. Then the woman in black, who again has just been watching this entire thing play out, it's like, ayo, you murked your brother, sorry. And her and some men take Utsutsu's body away, except Uno reverse again, because we see that Utsutsu is actually alive and isn't dead. And Jesus Christ, I really wish I was just making all this up, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wish this wasn't a real thing and I was just talking out my ass. Maybe I was just looking at an acid trip. No, this is all happening. This is all something that I'm genuinely explaining right now in a video to you. Oh my God. All right. So the woman in black approaches the newly awoken Utsutsu, and we finally get some sort of story exposition, although don't get used to that happening. So she explains that the sibling pair have been infected with the insert title Pupa virus, and that grants them the amazing ability to be able to regenerate from massive lacerations and injuries, but this all comes at the cost of wanting to eat people, even though Utsutsu for some reason doesn't have that hunger, even though I went back and watched and she definitely implied that he should also want to eat people. He just doesn't. He doesn't have that hunger. Only Yumi does. So don't know what that's about. So Utsutsu, being like the great big brother he is and all, decides that, hey, I'll just let Yumi eat me since I can heal myself, and it'll be fine and we'll be happy together forever. Problem solved. The next episode is a backstory, I guess you could say, for Yumi, and we see as a baby she was born this human devouring monster, I guess, even though I thought the entire point of showing her at the start with the tentacle monster dog attacking her is to say that she was infected with the Pupa virus, not that she was born a monster. But I guess I was wrong. Whatever, I guess. So long story short, Yumi was a creepy baby, and the mom of Yumi and Utsutsu was like, you're weird, so I want you gone. And she tries to murder a child, infant, baby, kid, young child, baby, she was a baby. Their mom tries to murder Yumi as a baby, and it doesn't work, and that mentally breaks their mom. And so now their mom lives the rest of her days in a psych ward for, I guess, attacking a child or something. I don't know how they would find out that she attacked the baby, but also not believe what she was saying, because if there was proof that she attacked the baby, that would mean that they were clearly able to see that she stabbed this kid multiple times and the kid didn't die. So that would be the proof to get her in the psych ward. But at the same time, if you saw that she like viciously stabbed a baby and there was blood everywhere and the baby didn't die, then you should believe what she's saying, because it's true. You have the proof of the show is okay. We jump back to real time, and at this point I'm fed up and I'm tired of the series, and I really just consider the past like 2 or 3 minutes just ending the video. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm tired of talking about this and it's bringing me great pain, but I'm gonna keep going. So in this series, Pupa, they're doing this really weird incest thing, and it's being done on purpose, and it's really bothersome and it's really creepy for all the wrong reasons in a horror anime. Utatsu and Yumi are on a bed, and Yumi is eating Utatsu as one local cannibal does, and he's doing the weird moaning thing from before in the bathroom. And it was at this point where I was like, okay, so we just really just trying to make your audience as uncomfortable as possible. I get it now, because again, this is very clearly set up to make you feel weird and think about these two having, but even without all the weird moaning or whatever, there's these weird shots that they have set up, and the shots are consistent in the manga too. Yeah, I took the time out of my day to actually read the Pupa manga. Don't do that. Anyway, they have these weird obscure shots, like one they have of us being behind Utatsu and he's like laying on his back and Yumi is in front of him. And without any context, if you just walked in and you just saw like a screen capture or you saw this happening, you think that Yumi is giving him like the Slobber Knocker 9000. And it's not okay for a little sister to be sucking Kurt. You know what? Fine, whatever. We're going past it. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. But just in case you think that I'm being extra and you think I'm dragging it out, and that's not what this series is trying to do, and they're not trying to make you uncomfortable by believing that a brother and sister are interacting sexually. In the next moment of this series, and again, I really wish I was making this up, but I'm not, we get back to the nice woman in black from before, and she reveals that she got a sperm sample from Utatsu and she got an egg from Yumi, and she has impregnated herself with their child. So yeah so we think everything is good, of course, but as Utatsu and Yumi are walking to school or something, I don't even know the context, they're just, you forget the small things like where they were and what exactly they were doing, because all of this wild stuff happens and it kind of distracts you. They see this little punk who I guess is supposed to be a student at the school or something. They don't really explain, and he's like, hey yo, you two should come with me. And then we transition to them at a dark and creepy building. So the guy is like a psychopath or something, and he's really like just getting all his jolly wickers in by stabbing and beating on Utatsu, and he's like, oh, you regenerate, yeah. And Yumi is fed up with this, of course, because that's her brother. So she tries to push the guy off Utatsu, and naturally the guy pushes Yumi back because, he's older than her, he's a guy, he's stronger than her, whatever. And this makes Utatsu snap, and Utatsu like pushes the guy off of him, and then he ends up poking the guy's eyes out with his own 2 fingers. And then some spooky men in black pays Utsutsu, and they kidnap him and Yumi and take them back to a facility where they do very, very harsh, quote-unquote, experiments with Utsutsu, but really it's just torture, and they're like removing his organs and watching them regenerate back. It is pretty sick, just for the sake of being sick, I'll be honest. So this makes Yumi snap again in sort of like the mirror image of what just happened, except this time her demon monster powers activate and she completely slaughters everyone in the building, saving her brother. And then they have this nice moment of, I got you, big bro Oni-chan, and he's like, yeah, I got you too, little sis. And that episode ends, and then we have one episode left, and I figured that this episode would, you know what I'm saying, maybe give some more details on the incest child that's about to be born of these two, and they were gonna have to like deal with that in some sort of way. But nope, that plot is completely unresolved, and that's probably for the best. The last episode essentially is just a feel-good slice of life episode where we get to see Yumi and Utsutsu as children, and Yumi's teddy bear gets damaged, and Utsutsu is like, oh man, there's a contest, I can win you a new giant teddy bear. And you see Utsutsu like fell over and over again, and eventually he doesn't get the grand prize, he only gets the 7th prize, and that's like this cheap hair clip, and he's really disappointed and embarrassed that that's all he could get for his little sister. And it's like a nice sweet moment, because as he gives it to her, Yumi's like lit up with excitement, and she loves it so much, and she loves her brother, and it's a nice way to end off whatever this sick twisted junk was. And then with that, Pupa's over. So yeah, let's move on to my thoughts on Pupa. So honestly, just straight face, the art for Pupa in the manga, the anime is a little bit, you don't really get to see it as much, especially since, again, the anime is really censored. Censorship is really bad, by the way. To censor, they usually just either A, make scenes incredibly dark to where you can't see anything, or B, they just throw a random white line in the middle of the screen to hide the gore. So that's silly, but whatever. The art in the manga is actually really, really cool and really unique. And it honestly feels like whoever the manga is, either A, isn't that good of a writer, or B, didn't even put forth any effort to be a writer and just kind of is really good with the pen when it comes to drawing and wanted to show off his or her art. But at a base level, the story's not okay, it is terrible. It's terrible in execution. But the idea of there being like this virus that these two have to deal with, and it makes this little girl like a man eater, you know what I'm saying? Like, if actual effort was put forth, this idea, you know what I'm saying, the pitch for this series isn't the worst thing in the world. It just fails fundamentally at everything you need to even have a decent series. It has terrible pacing and plot holes and doesn't make any sense, and it feels really rushed, and our characters don't have any real motivations, just random conflicts thrown at them. And I can go on and on, but you watched the video, so you know everything that's wrong with this. All in all, Pupa is a super, super weird anime. And that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed that video, man, you should subscribe, man. Subscribe, you know what I'm saying? I make videos of this quality or better all the time. So if you're subscribed, you have a higher chance of seeing them. Or you can even, you know what I'm saying, turn on notifications, and YouTube will literally tell you I have a new video out. Yeah, I think the next video I want to make is another weird anime video, and I think I want to talk about Corpse Party. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to talk about Corpse Party at some point. I don't know if that's going to be the next video, though. I also want to make a Dororo video. Whatever, though. Besides the point. I am leaving.